Kohalayim Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah Waharakak Shalom. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops. Great male song. Shalom to all you Akim, pushing the words of truth and sincerity. And shalom to all the elect Akim and Akwaf out here scattered abroad. Israelites, shalom. All right, so this is referring to the video you just watched, which is some Russian propaganda, of course, depicting something that I think was pretty well made of a recruitment video. All right, it covers all the bases, and it speaks to the young people in Russia who aren't really too sure about military or too sure about manhood in particular. As you can see, the Russians are more inclined to reach out to the younger men that's interested in becoming more of a man. And when you think about and consider the different jobs that they have out here, what jobs are we talking about? Like Uber. All right, they showed you the guy and the man, basically spotting the other guy in the gym. These are things that men do, right? It was designed to intrigue the male, probably 17 to 21, 25, who's searching, looking for some type of direction, cling to some type of idea of who he is. So when you ask the question, like, who's going to sign up for these wars? Who exactly would go and fight in a World War III? Well, through propaganda, which there was an act that passed back in 2012. The information is coming out now that the United States is now allowed to use propaganda on its own citizens to convince them for whatever causes, whether to join the war or do, whatever. But this is a perfect example of how propaganda works. And so, you could reach people who, let's say, insecure or don't have no passion yet or aren't dedicated to anything, or just your average worker. Ain't nothing wrong with working Uber. Ain't nothing wrong with them jobs. Ain't nothing wrong with spotting at the gym. But, they reaching out to the fact that you can do all these things and still not know who you are. So it's important that brothers understand, like, the propaganda that's about to come out is going to flush out all the weak. You got people that seem strong on the outside. They seem like they got it together, but they never found no purpose in life. So in this truth, it gives you purpose. See, the stability, not wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. We know this. And so they're going to have instability. Some of the instability is of your mind because you unsure about who you're supposed to be, what your passion is, what you are supposed to be doing in this world, your role. All right. As a man, every man is pretty much keyed up or designed, structured to look for his purpose in life, whether he finds that through caring for his family, a 9-to-5, having his own business, having his land and tilling it, whatever the purpose that man finds, he's searching for some type of identity. And so a lot of men find their identity in war, not because, they thought that, this is what they're created for, to shoot guns, but because these services speak to the man who doesn't have an identity yet, speaks to the man who is left out hanging in search of what he's supposed to be doing. And truth be told, when you're doing things like whether you in the gym or whether you're an Uber driver or whatever example they use in this propaganda, if you haven't found your purpose yet, you still gonna search for it. You gotta have a family and all that. If you ain't found your purpose yet, you still gonna be out here searching for it somewhere, looking under a rock, looking on it online, And this is what happens to a lot of men. So, I just wanted to share this video. And here's a few scriptures to kind of back up this sentiment. Now, throughout the scriptures, you have battles, you have wars, you have various accounts of Israel going to war, other nations, their armies. All right, this famous story of David and Goliath. We know David was a mighty warrior, following after Saul. And so you have these accounts in which Israel is nothing new. All right, when referencing war, that's as biblical as it's starting a family. That's as biblical as being married, so forth and so on. That's as biblical as the priests. You had to have warriors to fight for the land that the Lord promised us to have, right? So really quickly, let me bring out this scripture here. Bear with me. All right, so you have Judges 6:34. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet him. And those messengers, and that trumpet is blown because the trumpet symbolizes war, right? The trumpet has different symbols, and so or sounds that it makes to symbolize different things, one of them being war. In this case, verse 28 says, and after the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it, and the second bullock was offered unto the altar, upon the altar that was built. And so there was an altar that's being destroyed here. So Israelites was going through different towns, destroying idols along with the people that worshipped in that town or in that land. All right, this is the judge Gideon. All right, when you start at the verse 1, it tells you that we was being oppressed. Judges 6:1, and the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of Midian 7 years. So, and the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel. So here it is. Anytime we offended the Heavenly Father, what would happen is that he'd send, as you see in this Judges 6, he'd send a nation to take us down. All right, and so it came not to the point where, as long as we mighty and we have stronger men, all right, we was taken down by mightier nations or more populous nations than us. But it's if the Lord's hand is with us, if his hand supports us, that's the only way in which we're going to survive. So at this time, when Gideon had to blow the trumpet, it was time for Israel to be restored. And we would go and we would, slay, slay their men, and also knock down their temples. That was a big thing, knocking down their altars as well. When you go to, so this is when we were fighting against Midianites and Amalekites. So war is, all throughout the scriptures, right? And why? Because the scriptures tell us as men how to be. 1 Maccabees 2:64, wherefore ye my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men. And the word valiant means possessing or showing courage or determination, brave, fearless, courageous. When you think of these words, you're naturally going to think of army. You're naturally going to think of military. You're naturally going to think of things like war. That's what a brave man does. He runs into battle, right? He's fearless. A fearless man goes into war. Like even in sports, you think of Floyd Mayweather or these boxers, the MMA fighters, as fearless, because that's a form of combat, man on man, mano a mano, so to speak. All right, and so Israel was all about that, because we, especially when the Lord was with us, that's when we rose to the top. That's the only occasion in which Israel rises to the top, when the Lord is with us. So we need the Lord. It's not as if you're just going to get some super gun and be able to defeat all your enemies. He got bigger ones. It's not as if you're going to have some AI working for you and defeat all your enemies. His AI, he created that AI. The Lord used Esau to create the AI. All right. So the answer is our power in everything we do. So once again, 1 Maccabees 2:64, wherefore ye my sons, all right, speaking to the men, be valiant, which means courageous, fearless, brave, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law. And this is where this idea of be a man comes from. You hear this from women and men alike. And so the idea is be a man, and to be a man, and you raise as a young child, and you realize when you get older you're going to be a man. But ain't nobody out here truly showing what being a man is all about. So what they do is they snatch you off the streets. They use propaganda to snatch you. They snatch you into either the drug game or the streets, or they snatch you into the all these agendas that Esau pushes, all of these different, the system is allowed and caused and used to work against you so that you can fall into these various traps, whether it be child support, incarceration, so forth and so on, anything but be a Hebrew Israelite. As you can see, the plan is to keep all you Israelite men from returning back to the Father. That is the ultimate plan. It ain't got nothing to do with you making more money. Esau can, the system's already good enough for stopping you from making money. The system's good with keeping you incarcerated. They ain't scared of you making more money than them, because you're never going to make more than them. They created the dollar, all right? They centralized. They got control over that, and they about to push their CBDC. You ain't going to know what to do except to take that mark. If you ain't focused and the Spirit of the Lord ain't working with you, ultimately comes down to who the Lord uses. His men, who is his elect. The elect are the chosen. From the foundations of the world, the Lord severed out certain men who would not bend their knee to Baal, who would not worship these other nations, deities, who would not fall, who would not falter, who would be brave and be fearless and be valiant in the face of adversity and show themselves men in the times of trouble that's coming ahead. It's all coming down to the MOTB, the C-hip that's coming out, the implantable. Revelations 13 and 16 on down is all coming down to a time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30, and you're going to see what a real man is, because the mental fortitude has to be there, also aligned with the scriptures. You have to be part of the elect, one of the elect men, who the Lord is going to put the Spirit on to be exempt from judgment. So you're going to see all type of tribulation happening around you, but you're not going to be affected by it. The Lord said his men shall eat, so in the time of famine you'll have food. All right. 7 women shall take hold of you. You're going to be basically, there's going to be a famous report about how the Lord is dealing with you in that day. And you're going to see a lot of men who boasted about how strong and physical or mighty and biggest shooters and killers they are. They're just going to drop like flies out here. All right, because the seriousness of the times we're coming in. 1 Corinthians 14 and 20, brethren, be not children in understanding, howbeit in malice be children. But in understanding, be men. So when it comes to understanding, you are a whole man out here. And the idea is, okay, of a man, it goes back to the root word, Strong's G 3588, completeness, meaning a full age, aka perfect. I promise you, the word is complete, aka perfect. And it applies in labor, growth, mental and moral character, etc. All right, consummate human integrity and virtue. All right, to consummate is the same as sexual intercourse, which makes to mean to complete the marriage. To consummate, that's another definition for it. But it also means showing a high degree of skill and flair. All right, so you have a high degree of human integrity and virtue. Remember that virtue, that fearlessness. You are mature now. See, a man is about coming to a full age, just like a flower blossoms. You become mature, just like a plant blossoms and bears a fruit. You become mature. You mature in your virtue. You mature in your braveness. You mature in your ability to protect, ability to keep, everything's in order and yourself in order. So these are the things we need. These are the things that we designed to become if we continue to endure all said troubles and believe on the power. Lord willing, this video was edifying. Till next time, shalom.